Hi, I'm Mike of Near Enough Dice. This is the Kerbal Space Program. This is my Moon Jumper launcher, and it's just absurdly large. It's just enormous. Goodness me, I have no idea if it's even going to get off the launch pad. But it should have enough delta V to get me there. So we'll see, I guess. So, let's go.
So here's the launch. It went pretty well. The only thing is, towards 20k or so above the surface, I had to point more and more up to bring the time to apoapsis high enough, because I began to, get too close to apoapsis, which meant I wasn't going to get enough height. But once I managed that, it worked out pretty well. And in fact, I ended up only having to spend 172 delta V to circularize, which is really pretty efficient. So I'm quite pleased with that. That meant I actually had quite a lot left in my launch stage. So when I set up my maneuver to go to the Mun, I actually used my launch stage for a lot of that. Then I went to what was going to be my original transfer stage, which is the first time I've actually used one of the nuclear engines, because for once this turned out to be pretty much the right thing to use. The mass of what's being transferred to the Mun is enough that adding the extra tonnage of the nuke engine wasn't a problem, and its extra ISP meant that it got really good delta V, especially once I took away the oxidizer from the transfer stage fuel tank, because you don't need that for a nuke engine. So that worked out pretty well. The only problem was that the second half of the transfer burn took 2 minutes. So I got most of it done with my nice quick engine, and then the remaining couple of hundred delta V had to take several minutes. That'd take about 2 minutes. And finally I get a good account of the Mun, and then I have a circularization burn, and that took 3 minutes to do. So nuke engines, really efficient, but very low thrust. And that's basically where I left my orbit.
Not as circular as it could have been, but I don't care. Right, that is the orbit we've got. And the next thing is, I'm gonna basically wait for that. I'm gonna land here. I'm just gonna get a contract out of this. I'm just gonna wait until that becomes day. Then adjust my orbit, so I'm gonna go over it, then land on it, and then I can start thinking about what else I want to do. Right, here we are. What I now have is, I've waited a bit until this is now. This is where I'm aiming at. This is a small collection of. Oh, that's really weird. I managed to get my orbit to be a bit unstable. That's annoying. There we go. Oh, goodness me. So, oop, I don't want that. I want the exact opposite. I'm not really setting up this maneuver to do the maneuver. I'm not really going to be following the maneuver exactly or anything. This is mostly so that I can judge when to start, and when I can usefully fast forward to. So yeah, this is my craft now. I've ditched the transfer stage, which I was actually going to do a lot of. I was originally going to do a lot of this maneuvering with the transfer stage, but because I've so massively over-engineered the rocket, I had so much delta V that I could use my transfer stage to get here. which meant that I could use my launch stage to get to the Mun with quite a lot to spare, which meant in turn that I could get quite a lot of my maneuvering here done, which I'd originally budgeted to do with this, because it's got, let's get rid of the thermal. Oh, it's heat. Don't really need the orbital right now. But it's got, 1,683 delta V, meaning, I do want orbit actually. I'm going to have enough, I should be able to land and then have 1,000 delta V left, which should be enough to take off and land again. But actually, of course, I can mine from the surface, so I can in fact take off, I'll be able to get enough to take off and land and take off again. But of course, every time I land, I'll be able to refuel. So that's going to be pretty awesome. So originally, the original plan was to actually use quite a lot of the delta V on here to, change my orbit, because I've changed my orbital inclination. Instead of being equatorial, now down here, and I've made myself go quite low over the terrain, and probably could have been lower now I think about it. But I was able to do that with all of that, that bit there, which is kind of neat. So I'm kind of going to go with the maneuver node, but I'll adjust. Probably could have waited a bit longer. I waited until this was becoming light, this area, but it looks like I could have waited a bit longer had it been even more light. But I do have lights. I do have lights on thing, including landing lights. So. Now I'm also going to be looking for slope. With some testing, I reckon this can sit on a slope of about 10 degrees reasonably easily, and still remain upright. I mean that is to remain pretty much exactly upright. Once I've worked out my leg balancing code, it all worked out nicely. That reminds me, I need to bring up, not so much bring up the code so I can look at it. It's literally just the file name, so I can see it. So in another window, I've just brought up my scripts folder, so I can actually see what I'm going to be typing in a second. Right, so, would it help if I made my engines active? That could have been embarrassing. And I no longer have anything in there, so just get rid of that. Okay. I'm just rotating to get the ground on that ball, the ground below and the sky above. I don't really need to do that. The ship will work just fine regardless, but I'm doing it anyway. So there you can see the three places I'm navigating to. I'm not too bothered right now about getting straight to them. I can always drift, I can always go that way. That's the whole point of this craft, is you can refuel and then head that way. I'm going to take it off. I'm putting on to surface retrograde. But I actually I want to point at the horizon, because obviously as I dip down, the retrograde's going to change, which is not actually what I want. I want to stop and then fall. I'm just going to grab. Grab that, stick it out the way, stick it underneath my face where you don't need to look at it. down nicely. Let's get rid of the orbital thing. Pull myself back a bit more horizontal. I could, in theory, adjust myself so I'm pointing more towards those. I'm obviously going a bit to the left. I'm not that bothered. And when I say I'm not that bothered, I'm not bothered at all. Don't need the Kerbal alarm clock to take that away. No point, I'll keep looking at the slope indicator. The slope indicator is not actually helpful to me at this moment. It's not until I actually start properly falling out the sky that it becomes a problem. What is my vertical speed? See, I could possibly be doing more of a constant altitude burn. So like angling myself down to counteract the falling, but I am not going to do that. I'm very high up. I mean, my terrain altitude is 4,000 meters, so I should have enough speed to be alright. Speed? It's not speed I'm worried about, it's height. Whoop, other way, other way, other way, other way. Right, so I'm now going to be falling out the sky. What's my slope? 16 degrees, that's appalling, that's not what I want. Okay, so, well, what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to have to hover when I get down there. So let's deploy our gears. Let's run Mun Hopper leg balance. There will be a brief pause, everything stops. So now everything's going to be making horrible noises. I'm going to get rid of that, I don't need that anymore. Make sure I'm pointing up. I could possibly open up the other console and lock my steering to up, but I'm just going to go now. I was looking at the wrong speed and I got confused. Oh dear. Looks like I'm going to make it actually. Okay, now what I need to do is work out where I am. Right, so I want to go slightly over that way, which I am. Slope's coming down. I should really be using my actual hover script at this point, but slope is 17 degrees, that is too high. Pointing. I'm pointing with my finger. That doesn't help you. 14 degrees. Where do I want to go? I want to go. Let us actually point to the way I want to go, because that makes my life easier. I want to point. That was unfortunate. That is not what I wanted. I'm now going very much more up than I wanted. But why don't we go over there? Why do we actually go over there if we're going to be hopping around? So you can hear you can hear them going in the background. What I could do is really use an indicator, because the problem will come essentially when the problem comes when when the legs get saturated, when one leg is going to be at the absolute maximum height and the other is going to be the absolute minimum height. That's the biggest slope I can cope with. What I'm trying to do now is kill my horizontal speed. And then go towards up again. And then just look for some place I can land. Now I've got RCS, I've got quite a lot of RCS, but not so much that I can actually make huge differences in my horizontal speed, unfortunately. Probably because this is such a big, enormous craft. So I need to do quite a bit of hovering. Do you get where I want to go? So I'm looking at that area there. That looks a bit flatter than where I am at the minute. So we're going to be heading over that way. Now there are scripts I could use in theory to use at this stage, but unfortunately I haven't made one there's a particular thing I would like to do, which is hover exactly where I am. Which one's that? That's CPU 1, so I need to find CPU 2. Which one are you? You're CPU 1. You're CPU 2. Excellent, okay. So ideally what I'd like one, at the moment I've got one that says start hovering at 5 meters off the ground, which is actually a problem because this thing stands more than 5 meters off the ground. What I would quite like is one that says whatever you're hovering off the ground, stay there. Just stay there. Stay where you are. Where you are is fine. And I haven't written that one yet. It is theoretically a small amount of code to do. But, you know, right now is possibly not the time to do this. So I'm just having to really just keep a lookout for a reasonably good slope, which might be having 30. It's gone down from 17 to 13, and I was kind of hoping this area would be relatively flat. I'm currently going up, and I don't want to go up. I'm going up quite a lot actually. Down to 12. Ah, there we go. Right, I'm going to start trying to stop. That was my horizontal speed. 15 meters a second, that's quite a lot. So, what I should do, I'll try and turn myself so I'm pointing the way that I'm traveling horizontally. And that way I'm going to have much better chance of right. I think, there we go, 6.0. That's going to be that's pretty good. I'm drifting anyway, it's very hard to see, so. Now it's just landing. Try and keep the speed below 4 meters a second. I do have a fair amount to fall, so I could possibly do this a bit more efficiently, but given I've got so much fuel, I think we're going to be fine. There's a slight going up again now. So you can hear the adjustments being made still. Still going a bit. want to land very gently. And there we go. And there, look, look at that. Okay, it's a gentle slope. But as you can see, I'm now balanced perfectly upright. I used a lot of delta V. I've maybe enough delta V left to get off the planet if I need to. I'm 2 kilometers away from my actual goal. But none of that matters. If I right click on this, I can see I put a tag AC1 to deploy. So I can now deploy my solar panels and I've kept a note of what action groups work. This is another problem though with my hover scripts, is that my hover scripts used action group 1 to do things, which is also going to cause problems. The mining things, deploy drill, that's AC2 toggle, AC3 start. You can't actually read it, it's AC4 to stop drilling, so I just hit 2. And there both the drills go, I think. Are they both going? Yeah, they're both going. And then I can start them with a 3. I can start them drilling. So I'm going to fill up the ore. I'm going to turn off RCS. I'm going to turn off SAS. And that is a successful mission, and I can now do some extra science, which I couldn't do before. So that's what I'm going to do next. It's going to be doing science. It's going to be, I need to plant a flag. I need to do some various other bits and pieces. And then I need to head over there. I can either hop over there, but I don't really have to. I can just walk over there. I've got lots of options. So anyway, thanks very much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. Find neilfdice.com. We're lovely, friendly people. We're also on Twitter and on Facebook. And until next time, reach for the stars.